As you've seen from the thumbnail, you know we're going to be making this beautiful hat. I know I promised in my first video that we're going to make a hat that's going to match that cardigan. That is coming. However, I thought I'm going to post a short video about how to make this super fast, super fun, super cute hat. And yeah, it's made out of a very chunky yarn. Okay, and this is very much a leftover project, so it's seriously chunky. It's 100 grams yarn and it's 100% acrylic. Okay, it's a very chunky. As I said, it's a leftover yarn project, as you can see. Now, I originally made this hat for my best friend Dan. He does work outside and he needs to keep his head warm, obviously, and this is basically ideal for him, and he absolutely loved it, and he asked me if I can make the same one for his little boy. Now, this is the yarn that I've got left over from the grey one, and I reckon this is going to be enough for a boy's hat. His little boy is 7, so that's what we're going to be making today. And I've got a little bit left over of this bluish greenish one as well, so I think that's going to work out really well. Okay, what you're going to need for this project is a 10mm hook. Okay, you will need scissors, a stitch marker if you want to have one, if you want to keep track of the end at the beginning and end, you can use a stitch marker, you don't have to. Obviously we're gonna need yarn as well. So yes, now I'm quickly gonna show you what was the pattern that I used for this hat. So this is the bigger one. Okay, so for the bigger one, started with a magic circle, and then I did 10 single crochets all around for the first row. The second row was double crochets row, and it was 2 double crochets into each stitch, so that doubled it. So I had 20 double crochets, chain 2, and then another row of increase as well for that third row. Because I'm making a slightly smaller hat, rather than starting with 10 single crochets, I'm going to start with 8. Okay, now if you want to make a bigger hat, go ahead and start with 10 single crochets. If you want to make a children's hat like I'm doing, start with 8 single crochets into the magic circle. Just to give you an idea, this hat is 25 centimeters, so that's 50 all around, and is 22 almost in height. Okay, so this will fit an adult. Okay, but I'm making a smaller hat, so rather than making the 10 single crochets to start with, I'm going to be doing 8. As I said, if you're making one for yourself or maybe for another grown-up, you will do 10. Okay, I'm hoping that makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna start our project with a magic circle. So how you do a magic circle, just give yourself a little bit of a tail there. Okay, wrap the yarn around your fingers like so, and then twice around these 2 fingers. You've got your tail and your working yarn, so hold them together like so. Okay, insert your hook underneath those 2 loops, pull up a loop, okay, yarn over and pull through, and pull your fingers out from the circle, and there you have it. Okay, let's do that again. It looks worse than it actually is. I don't think it's that once you get your head around it, it's actually doesn't look that complicated. But okay, so give yourself a little bit of a tail there, wrap the yarn around your fingers like so, and twice on the bottom 2 fingers. Okay, hold the tail and the working yarn very gently, insert your hook, pull up a loop, okay, and then yarn over and pull through. Okay, take your fingers out and there you have it. That's your magic ring. You've got your tail there and your working yarn. Okay, so I'm going to be doing children's hat, and for that I'm going to need 8 single crochets. If you're making a grown-up hat like the one I showed you earlier, you're going to be making 10 single crochets. Okay, so 8 for smaller hat, 10 for bigger hat. Okay, to make the single crochet into the magic circle, you insert your hook into that circle, pull up a loop, you've got 2 on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, and that's your single crochet. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put a stitch marker there. If you don't have stitch marker, what you can do is to just put a leftover yarn and just weave it in there, and that's gonna be your stitch marker, or you might not actually want to use any. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make 8 single double crochets into that magic circle. And as I said, if you're making 10, that's fine, but we're gonna meet at the end of this row and we're gonna finish this row together with a slip stitch. Okay, so I've lost my count actually, so let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 1 more. Okay, so there you go guys, it was that easy. Okay, so I'm gonna just take out this stitch marker and I'm gonna slip stitch to this first stitch here. Okay, so I'm gonna insert my hook there, yarn over, pull up a loop, okay, and I'm gonna pull it through that little loop I had on the hook as well. And there you have it. Let's chain 2 for now. Okay, and this working yarn that you have in the back, if you actually pull it, there we go, it's gonna close your ring, and that's why it's called magic ring. Yay, there we go, you don't even know it. So what I'm gonna do is once we sort of made a few rows, I'm gonna weave this tail in because I don't want it to well, it needs to be weaved in and it's gonna hold this ring really nicely together. Okay, but that looks very neat. Okay, next row. What we'll do for next row is we're gonna make 2 double crochets into each one of these chains. Okay, so if you've done 8 single crochet like I have now, you will have 16 double crochets by the end of row 2. If you've done 10, you will have 20 double crochets. Okay, so in each one of these stitches here, you will make 2 double crochets. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is 1 double crochet. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch marker there. Okay, and I'm going to do another one into that same stitch. Okay, so that's 2. Okay, so yarn over, put the hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull through. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, let's do that again. Yarn over, insert the hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so go ahead and make your second row and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna meet you once you're at the end of this second row, and we're gonna connect the last double crochet to the first double crochet with a slip stitch, and then we're gonna start on row number 3 together. Okay, so go ahead and finish row 2. Okay, so I have come to the end of this second row over here, and I'm gonna connect my last double crochet with the first with a slip stitch. Okay, and then I'm gonna chain 2. Okay, so what we'll do for the next row, and this is slightly different to what we've done now, is we're gonna do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, then 2 double crochets in the following stitch, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet in the same stitch, 1 2 1 2. We're gonna follow this pattern for row 3. So at the end of row 3, if you have, for example, done 10 single crochets at the start, at the end of row 3 you should have 30 double crochets. If you've started with 8, like I have started here, at the end of row 3 you should have 24 double crochets. So let's start this together. So we're gonna do a double crochet to start off with, and this is where we're gonna place a stitch marker. Okay, and then in the following stitch we're gonna do 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in the next one, that's this one here, we're gonna do 1 double crochet. Okay, and in the next one we're gonna do 2 double crochet into that same stitch. Okay, so you continue with this pattern all along row 3, and I'm gonna meet you at the end of row 3, where we're gonna finish this row together with a slip stitch. Okay everybody, so I'm finishing my row 3. I've finished with 2 double crochets in the same stitch. This is what you should have finished with, regardless of whether you've started with 10 or 8 single crochets at the start. Okay, so let's slip stitch this to the first double crochet. Okay, just gonna insert the hook there and connect it with the slip stitch. Okay, I'm just gonna chain 2. Okay, so this is where our work might differ slightly. Okay, because I'm making the children's hat, okay, this is where I'm gonna stop with my increases. Okay, now this is a chunky yarn, so I've done quite a lot of the what is it called, like the size, if you like, that I need. If you're using normal yarn, for example, you might need to do a few more rows, because with a normal yarn you probably would be around here after the 3rd row, so keep on going with the increase. Okay, I'm just gonna measure this just to give you a guidance. So this is 13 centimeters. Okay, so I'm gonna stop with my increase now. So my next row will be a row of just double crochets in each of those stitches, and I'm gonna continue that until I have my desired length for the hat. Okay, so if you're doing a hat for example for grown-up, you will need to do another row of increase, or if you're using normal yarn, which is not chunky, again you will need to do a row of increase. So how are you going to do the row of increase? Okay, to increase in this next round, what you need to do is to do 2 double crochets, and then in the third chain you're going to do 2 double crochets into that same stitch. So you're going to do a double crochet, and then 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And that's how you're going to do an increase for row 4 if you want your work to be bigger. Okay, at the end of that row, if you're doing increases, you're going to end with 2 double crochets into this last stitch. Okay, if you're not doing increases, then do just 1 double crochet into each stitch all around. Okay, so I'm gonna meet you once I've come to the end of that row 4, and we're gonna finish this together with a slip stitch. Okay, so as I said, I'm not doing increases, so I'm just doing double crochet into each one of those stitches. But if you do increase, please remember to do double crochet and another double crochet, and then 2 double crochets into the third stitch. Okay, I'm actually gonna show you, let me just grab my notebook, and I'm gonna show you what those increases look like actually. So the increase for hats, or if you're doing a teddy, for example, or anything like that, it's normally we start with 2 double crochets into each stitch, which we've done anyway. Then we have 1 double crochet, then 2 double crochets into the same stitch. On the third row, normally you've got double crochet, and then 2 double crochet in the same stitch. Then for the fourth row, you do 1 double crochet, another double crochet, and another double crochet, and then in the fourth chain you do 2 double crochets together. If you want to continue with the increase, you would do 4, what you'll do is you'll do 4 double crochets, and then into that 5th stitch you will do 2 double crochets into that same stitch, and so on and so forth. So this is normally how the increases work. Okay, so let's continue with row number 4, and I'm gonna meet you at the end of this row, and we're gonna finish this together. Okay, so I have come to the end of row 4. Now if you have been doing increases on this row, you would have ended up with 2 double crochets into that last stitch. I didn't do any increase, so that's why I've got my single double. I'm going to take my stitch marker, and I'm just going to slip stitch to that first chain, and I'm going to chain 2. Okay, so once you've finished with your increases, all your other rows from now will just be double crochets all around until you've got your desired height of your hat. So I'm gonna go for about 16 centimeters or something like this for my hat. I'm gonna continue doing double crochets, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna meet you once I've changed the color, so I can show you how I change colors. And if you want to change color, you can do that too with me, or if not, you can just continue with the single color. And once we've done that, we're gonna come back for the edging. on the ridge, and we're gonna make this beautiful end, and that will be it for hat. So keep on going with the double crochets rows until you reach your desired height, and then meet me either for changing the color or at the end when we're gonna do the edging together. Okay, so I have done 2 more rows, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 rows. Okay, so I'm finishing my 7th row, and I'm just gonna connect this with a slip stitch there. But before I do, I just wanted to show you how I'm gonna connect the different color yarn that I have. So it's basically doesn't really show, because sometimes when you connect it, you can actually see it sort of like going downwards, and we don't want that. We want it to be seamless. So I'm just gonna make a slip knot like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna connect this to halfway up this double crochet. So I'm just gonna take that off. So this, okay, let me just take the whole thing. So I'm at the last loop, so I'm gonna go and make the double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2. Now rather than finishing this double crochet now, I'm gonna put my new yarn, okay, and pull through to finish that double crochet. Okay, and then I'm gonna slip stitch to the other side. Okay, and then let me just chain 2, and I'm just going to show you what that looks like. As you can see, it's pretty much seamless then. Okay, so let's do couple more double crochets so you can see it better, because I think we have to start this row for you to see it. Okay, and let's do a few more. So this is just a row of double crochets like we've been doing to gain the height of our hat. Okay, so I've got a couple, and as you can see, you can't even see it. I'm going to show you once we've come to the end of this row. So keep on building the height of your hat, and I'm going to meet you at the end of this row, and we're going to finish that together. And then what we'll do, I'm actually thinking about, let me just have a look what the height is on my hat really quickly. So I've got, so with this row, I'm going to have about 18 or 17 and a half. So because I'm making the same as this, but a little bit smaller, what I was thinking is to just have one row of this different color, and then we're going to finish the edging together. Okay, so meet me at the end of this row. We're going to change the color again, and we're going to do the edging and take a pictures for our final result or project. Okay, as you can see, I'm coming to the end of this row with a different color yarn. Sorry, my hat is a little bit bulging purely because I've got the remaining of the wool inside it. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this, or I'm just gonna start the double crochet. I'm not gonna finish it. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it here halfway through, because I'm gonna connect the gray one. So I'm just gonna make the slip knot, there we go, and then connect it in here so we can finish this double crochet. Okay, so pull it through and then slip stitch it to the start. Okay, so I'm just gonna, oops, Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tie it up on there. I'm gonna chain one, okay, and I want to show you this here. Okay, see where we've connected it? You can't even tell even here that we have connected it at all, so that's just very smooth. Okay, so we are at the last part really of our hat, and what we'll need to do is just the edging. So the edging will be single crochets, but we're going to do them backwards. Okay, so normally we would do them towards the left side. Now we're going to do them towards the right side. Okay, to do that, what you'll need to do is to insert your hook. So you're not going to insert it forward, you're going to insert it in the stitch behind, pull up a loop. Now you've got 2, yarn over, pull through like you would do a normal single crochet. Okay, so let's do that again. So in the stitch, in the previous stitch, pull up a loop, you've got 2, yarn over, pull through. Okay, let's do that again. In the previous stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, you've got 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so all the way around your hat you're gonna do these reverse single crochets, and that's gonna make up your border of your hat. So go ahead and do that. I'm just quickly gonna show you what that looks like. Let me just pull it. So it's gonna look something like this, which is really nice, and you can see that on the finished hat, that looks very pretty. So we're gonna finish this row. When you come to the end of that row, when you come to here, I'm gonna meet you and we're gonna finish together, and then we're gonna take pictures for our end result. Okay, so I've come to the end of that border here, so let's do the last backward single crochet in there, and then what we'll do is we're gonna put a slip stitch at the end. So I've pulled up the loop, and just be careful to slip stitch it there. Okay, and then we're gonna chain one, pull our yarn and just tie it in there, and then I'm just going to put it in the hat for a moment because I just want to show you. Let me just tie it in tightly. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's our hat done. All I need to do is, I've got lots of ends left over in the hat from when we were changing the yarn, so I'm just gonna weave those in and cut them as well. But there you have it, guys. Our mini hat, if you like, is finished. So I'm gonna just compare it to you. So this is the big one, okay, that we started with 10 single crochets. So I've started this one with 8 single crochets, and this is the difference. Okay, so totally up to you. I've got these lovely little labels that says handmade by Vic, so I'm just going to put one on there too, and that's the hat done. I hope you enjoyed this little project. It is quick to make. It took me less than half an hour to do this. I think having a chunky yarn does help with that, and if you did like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos, and hit that bell button. Thank you guys so much, and I'm gonna see you next time. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye bye.